the top left-hand side. In the blue, it is soO. Representing Ballistics.
Yep. And in the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is Nerchio.
Oh, and he is going to have his work cut out for him, because already in that production tab, Jess, we're going to be seeing something very aggressive. soO, ever since the beginning of Legacy of the Void, he has loved this opening so much. It's going to be a really quick one-base gas pool Ling Bane rush.
Yeah, of course, you mentioned that he's very aggressive, and one of the reasons is that he's so good with that micro. He actually can just out-micro anyone. I do feel like Nerchio should expect something like this, so at least the mental game should be there, but of course, opening up with that hatch first, see if he adds that gas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way.
Looks like he will. It's going to be interesting as well to keep an eye on the second Overlord path. You can see Nerchio's pathing it to the left. So there is a small chance he kind of gets a lucky glimpse on some Zerglings. But for now, soO, he's just making that Zergling speed, making a queen. He is going to continue mining gas, so it's not going to be kind of the pull-off gas, take a hatchery version. This is going to be, I need to do massive damage with this push.
Yeah, the full all-in here, you know. So we have some Zergs that want to, like, get Lings there as quick as possible, make the Banelings, wait for the Banelings. Some other Zergs that just wait for that speed and then bust out of the gates. Sench and I are a very large map, just keeping the Lings right at home now as he sets down that Baneling nest.
And it's going to be a big surprise attack. Of course, the reason soO's chosen this map for it is so large. And it's going to be a long time before Nerchio's Overlord gets over there and realizes that there's no natural expansion. Let's, of course, see if Nerchio takes any other safety precautions. The other one would be building 6 Zerglings immediately when your spawning pool finishes and kind of flowering those out of your natural to try and spot these Lings early.
Well, he's up to 4, so as I said, I would be really weird for Nerchio not to expect soO to at least open up one of these games with an early pool, and certainly soO, an aggressive player with such an extended history, experience, has no problem opening the first game with a lot of aggression.
I mean, when I think of these top-level Korean Zergs, I actually realized, like, the last 5 times I've watched this map specifically, it's almost always been one of the guys goes for this early rush, and he's avoided the vision so far.
I love this move by Nerchio, though. He is looking for those Lings, trying to do it, but soO took the longest way around the map that I think I've ever seen, so the timing is a little off.
Yeah, he's only just showing it now. The Queen's getting to the ramp very quickly, though. Oh, Nerchio!
Oh, no.
With a slip-up, that Queen does run down there. He's going to pull the drones off to fight. Good defense by Nerchio so far, but those Banelings are almost done. I think he's going to need a solid wall off on that ramp with those Queens.
Yeah, well, of course, now it's that question, can he even save the hatchery? The wall might be broken as well, as there's really no Lings for Nerchio. He's bringing down drones, drone drilling through this to try and help out. He manages to protect one of the Queens, but the other one goes down before Transfuse is ready. This one's also going to go down, and soO will have access to the main base.
Oh, that Spinecrawler is so close to done, Jess. If that can finish, that will help him stay in this game. The Banelings coming in, they're looking for the big hits, but only getting a couple of workers there, and still a small worker lead for Nerchio, but no defense other than this single Queen. The Spinecrawler is going to try and get down there. The Zergling count is out. soO still has the numbers advantage. Nerchio's got to be very careful.
It's pretty important that Nerchio does not let these Lings into the main base. It's one thing to let them in and then be able to clean them up, but with his drones so low from that Baneling hit, instantly 6 could have gone down. So soO has to take another path. He knows they're still weak, but they are regenerating.
And there's no follow-up here for soO. He's not transitioning. It's just going to be another wave of Ling Bane Nerchio. He's spotting it. He realizes what's up. He's trying to build more Queens and Lings. I don't think he can fight this head-on. I think he's got to keep his Queens on his ramp, build more Spines. Right now, he's massing Speedlings. And that's a little bit scary. These Banelings, if they get the right connections, they can take this down.
Yeah, this is a very precarious situation for Nerchio, although he does have that Spinecrawler. The Queen just popped out. He's actually sending a couple Lings across the map, and I don't think soO had any defensive unit set up. They're all been rallied forward.
Oh, that's a ton of Lings here. The Zerglings from Nerchio being so careful, and this counterattack's not going to find anything.
Oh boy, the Banelings actually crash in here. They take out the Spinecrawler as their priority. There's only a handful of Lings left, but the Queens on the ramp still look a little bit dangerous to take on. Another Baneling trade. Nerchio still is holding, and that hatchery, it's not even low, right? Like, soO would have to really dedicate to get that.
I think the real danger is these Lings getting in that base, though, and there's still more Banelings here. The defense by Nerchio has been great. He's going to try and hold on to this ramp. That one extra Baneling there. Will he focus fire it down? He won't, with the Transfuse! Those Queens just aren't going down!
Oh my god, that was so clutch. soO is trying desperately to break forward, but even lets his own Lings come forward, saves the Queens, and Nerchio looks to be in a good position. He is up 3 drones, has the Queens, no longer has the Spinecrawler, I suppose, but now he has his own Banelings.
And this is looking great for Nerchio. Just going to bypass those Banelings. Says, I've got the link count. I can just counterattack right now. I don't need to fight on your turn. Snipes down 2 of the morphing Banelings. Nice pickoffs.
Yeah. Going to go for an attempted counter of his own. Just finds a bunch of reinforcements. That's a lot of lings for soO, but Nerchio, I think he even made like 4, I want to say, back at home. He is going to commit to this counter. Yeah, 4 of 6. Actually, 2 more on the way. I think he's got enough to deal with whatever soO has to throw at him.
His queens are very bruised, which is the one thing which makes it a little bit scary. But, oh, actually nice surround here by soO. Going to catch a lot of Nerchio's Zerglings and really take the tempo away from him. But soO still on 1 base, so he's still in a little bit of a desperate spot here. He's really got to make something happen very quickly.
Dragging that queen way far away as well. Should like walk a mile and a half to get back to that main base. But 3rd queen now pops up. And Nerchio just looks to have better and better defense every time we check his natural.
Yeah, this is looking great. I mean, the link count has to be absolutely crazy for soO to take these queens down, especially with the Baneling support there as well. And that's just impregnable. I don't see any way soO is going to break this natural, and Nerchio has already started to drone up behind this. 23 workers to 13. soO starting to look desperate in this game.
A lot of Banelings coming through. If he could get that 1 effective trade, like 2 for 6 or something like that, but I think it's actually going in Nerchio's favor. All of his queens still alive. 3 Banelings still alive. soO desperately trying to micro Nerchio, but it's just not working.
Oh, he's hanging on really well. These Banelings come forward. The queen's still not really falling. soO trying to avoid and snipe down that weak queen, but not quite able to seal the deal. And more queens are popping out.
Gee. Nicely done by Nerchio. I said that he'd have to come out of the gates strong and keep his momentum. Well, soO kind of brought the gates to him, and he was just like, nah, like, I got this. And that's still a really strong start.
That was great. I really was just looking at that, and I guess I had some expectations of, I mean, the last times I've seen this build go down, the defenders almost always lost. I've just seen this happen so many times, I've almost started to expect it. But Nerchio, the queen's on the ramp, actually kind of baiting the first fight almost with the way his queen came off the ramp and those Zerglings tried to fight, but he actually kept pulling the drones and even drone drilling like 2 workers at a time through the queens. Those little maneuvers just bought him enough time, and once that spine crawler was up, Nerchio's hold was pretty much perfect from there on.
Right, that really is the pivotal moment though, when those 2 queens are on the ramp at the beginning, and as you said, like the nice just mechanics that Nerchio is able to show with the drone drill. But I agree, like there was almost a bit of a bait, you know, you're like, oh god, he didn't actually block the ramp. But the fight still lasted such a long time. The queens might have gone down, but they took out a lot of lings with them.
Oh yeah, and when you've only got 1 hatchery producing, you know, you've only got a couple of Zerglings coming out every minute, and soO wasn't able to reinforce with the numbers. He tried to get his way back in that game, but Nerchio showing that solid play, which we've known him for in the past. I think a lot of Polish fans out there, as well as just general fans of Nerchio, are getting very excited. Very good confidence-boosting game 1.
They should. I mean, Nerchio's year, obviously, he's been a strong player the entire year, last year as well, but Laser has kind of, you know, become that new Polish king. This would be a great start to the end of his year to kind of like be like, no, I'm going to claim that title back.
Oh, yeah. Of course, last year, Nerchio did have a little bit of a sad going out in the group stage to his countryman, Laser, I believe, was the one who ended up kind of taking the 2nd spot in that group. But you know, he's coming back here. He's got another chance to make it through to that top 8 of the WCS Global Playoffs. And we are going to be launching into map number 2.
Yes. Oh, this should be exciting. Nerchio's already up 1.
Yeah, there's good hope, of course. We can't count this guy out just yet. Down here, in the bottom right-hand side, in the blue, it is soO. Bit of excitement there.
All right. On the top left, as the red Zerg up 1, it's Nerchio.
You know, it's funny because we've been talking about this match a little bit over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been half jokingly saying, I hope it's not just an early pool every game from soO. And you've been like, you know, he's been mixing it up. And I'm like, I know, yeah, he doesn't do it that much anymore. I feel like he'll do it 1 game. Well, apparently he's going to do it multiple games because this is going to be a 12 pool, very fast Zergling rush, but he's not getting the gas. So it is a little bit different. He will be expanding behind it. So his aim here is really to try and cancel or destroy Nerchio's natural expansion, or at least take a whole bunch of drones out with him, gain a bit of momentum, and then transition into a more normal game afterwards. Yeah,
kind of the perfect setup is when they pull the drones and still can't quite break it, and then you're just like, well, I've just won the game, you know? Like, that's pretty good. But we'll see how Nerchio decides to actually approach this once he sees that it is an early pool. Of course, I think we can agree that he kind of had an expectation last game. He did make those lings before he even saw soO's lings. And again, soO's the aggressive guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I would expect him to go for another early pull after being denied once, but Nerchio, hopefully playing on the safer side, does start those lings as soon as possible.
If there's one thing you can say about soO, it is that he has so much confidence. He just doesn't even care. Of course, with this rush, it's a smaller map. It's a more straightforward rush. Not trying to hide the Zerglings. He's going to go straight towards Nerchio's natural expansion. And he wants to get a lot of damage on that. As you pointed out, you know, there's choices in how Nerchio defends this. Does he pull the drones, try to get down here and defend it? Or does he just give up the expansion and then try to retake it a little bit later? We're going to have to wait and find out. It looks like Nerchio's continuing to mine gas. And looks like just treating this very calmly for now.
Yeah, of course, Nerchio's the one with the gas here, so he might have a follow-up if he did give up the hatchery, but he is pulling the drones as the lings are on the way. A queen's even being actually developed at that natural hatchery, but will she be able to get out and help? Really important drone micro is going to be going down here, and actually Nerchio seems like he's going to give up on it.
Oh, it's so many Zerglings. I mean, he might take a lot of soO's Zerglings with him, but right now he's quite outnumbered there. And it looks like that queen is not going to be able to pop. Having pulled the drones and lost the mining time makes this very nasty for Nerchio to still not save the hatchery after that. Yeah, he can start the ling speed, but soO's already got lots of queens on the way back at home, and he's going to be very strong against a counterattack.
Yeah, Nerchio even kind of accidentally going down here. A couple drones pop up from the natural. I guess he had those already making. These are pretty even, like, it should be an even fight, especially with the queen here, but soO is going to try and take it. Actually,
he actually got a nice angle on those Zerglings, soO did. There was a few of Nerchio's Zerglings that were exposed at the front. They got surrounded, and now a couple of drones are going to go down, and he's going to get a queen as well.
Uh-oh.
Very, very good start to game 2 here for soO. Coming out of the gates confident with 2 early pull rushes, and even though it didn't work in game number 1, he is now establishing an amazing lead for himself in game number 2.
That was really good, and even a random drone decides it wanted to be a warrior, went off and is going to die for it. This one's not going to be able to become a hatchery. This is actually the worst case scenario for Nerchio. He pulled the drones, and then his queen died, and then a couple more drones die as they're just like flailing around here.
Oh, even loses that drone that he wanted to retake the expansion with. It really is a nightmare situation here for Nerchio, and soO's Zerglings, they're not done. They keep going for another deny, and they're not going to be able to get that drone, but they've already done more than enough. 10 Zerglings causing thousands of minerals worth of damage to Nerchio.
Oh, very, very bad start for Nerchio. As we were saying at the beginning of this game, though, like, Nerchio has the gas, so there's that potential that the speed, like, you know, it can kind of kick in, maybe gets us around on a queen, maybe delays the third base of soO for a very long time, and that's how he catches up. But I don't know if it's really going to be possible to do any direct damage right here, right now, so we should be expecting something like this.
I mean, this is a good opportunity. If he can actually slide in there, soO doesn't have his queens in position, maybe didn't spot this, and those Zerglings going to get in that main base. Going to try to get some damage done. Good drone micro so far, though. Protecting that queen with the workers, creating a buffer. Nerchio wants to find some damage. He desperately needs to find some damage.
Behind this, Nerchio, I mean, he could have gone for more lings, and perhaps with the queens being pulled into the main, that's where natural drones die. But instead, he adds on a third hatchery very quickly and an evolution chamber.
Gonna try and macro up out of this. I wonder if it will be like a mass Zergling follow-up. I think it'll probably just be into roaches, but Nerchio definitely gonna have to try something a bit different to get back in this one. Still down 22 workers to the 42 of soO. And that's not the sort of lead that you make up for very easily.
No, that was just, it was a beautiful opener from soO. You got everything that you'd really want from that. The hatchery kill, the drone pull, the queen, more drones being pulled. But he is kind of forced into this defensive situation. He's not the one with speed, although he is going to get it in like a couple seconds here. So we have Nerchio getting some revenge. Not quite as much, though. Only delays that for a second or two.
It's going to be soO's turn to put the pressure back on. Does have a decent number of Zerglings coming out here. And going to be able to put on some counter pressure. Nerchio forced into his own Zerglings, and I think he was banking up for that big carapace Zergling flood. But now that soO's attacking him, he's going to spot this well before Nerchio is ready to spring the attack. And the moment the hand is shown, soO can just make roaches, make Zerglings at home, and he should be able to lock down the gates.
Yeah, you know, if soO had skipped speed, for instance, and also just, like, assumed that the third base meant drones, there's a real opportunity for Nerchio with +1 carapace. But as you said, he's eventually going to see it. He's going to have equal lings, then suddenly, bam, Nerchio has +1. He's going to know what's up and just play, well, defensive, you know? Then that's been something that's been okay for him since he's up double the drones.
Interestingly, Nerchio did try to hide some of the Zerglings at the back there, but he eventually had to pull them all forward anyway. There's a fight out on the map here between both sides. Nerchio taking the engagement, but I think that's about an equal trade, and Nerchio needs much better than an equal trade at this point. Roaches are coming out. Roach speed and +1 range is on the way. soO has that third base safe and established. And I think Nerchio is just going to launch this one big Zergling attack. It's his last-ditch effort in this game.
Yeah, and maybe it could have worked, but still waiting on that Carapace for another 8 seconds. There's already a ton of Roaches, 9 more on the way, and I'm just not sure Nerchio is going to get the opportunity. But if he gets into every single base, main, natural, and third, there could be a lot of damage done, and maybe he can get that clutch roach timing of his own, although he is going just for +1 melee, so really living all in on the Lings.
I like how if we look at soO's vision, his Overlord out front, the natural, doesn't actually fully see these Zerglings, and they keep being hidden by Nerchio, but now he's got the Overseer in position. He can see the exit, so Nerchio is not going to be able to hide the Zerglings and where they're pathing to, and hey, the Changeling sees everything anyway. He's like, you don't have a lair? Like, you've got next to no workers? What are you doing?
Yeah, that definitely seems like an oversight from Nerchio. I don't know if this plan, I guess, is still developing, but it's still the same plan. It's just waiting a lot longer with a lot more Lings.
Maybe wait for a base trade. I mean, if there's one way you're going to make the impossible comeback, it's always going to be a base trade. Wait till soO pushes out with Roaches, run into all the bases, try to snipe down his drones and buildings, and maybe there's that 2% chance of victory. Nerchio, of course, not just going to throw in the towel early. He's going to give himself the best possible odds in a disastrous situation, but with soO not pushing out, he is finally just going to say, okay, I've got to go now or never. Dives in. There's more Roaches than there are Zerglings. That's a foregone conclusion, and soO takes down Nerchio, ties it up 1-1.
Yeah. Definitely expected that for the last couple of minutes. And I'm sure Nerchio did as well, but as you said, didn't just want to tap out lamely after knowing how much damage he took. It was a good idea, though. The Lings can definitely surprise the opponent. They don't bother getting a Baneling nest. Sometimes they don't get speed. They really just think Roaches are safe, and then that's when you get all the Lings and all the crevices and really do a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely been games that have been turned upside down with that sort of stuff, but soO not having any of it. Coming out very, very bravely there with the 12 pull. You always think of the pro gamer decision making. You've just done an all-in. It hasn't worked. To open up so aggressively again definitely takes a lot of gusto. And he came out with it. And unfortunately for Nerchio, not quite prepared for it. Maybe if those drones pulled down a little bit earlier, the hatchery had a few more hit points on it, so he could have kind of microed back and forth. But the first time he pulled back, already the hatchery was down to about 400 hit points, and he was like, wait, I actually can't save this.
Yeah, sometimes the drone driller finds the Lings still attacking the hatchery and has an okay spread of the drones. They can kind of micro back. What happened with that one is that the drones came down, got attacked, and we're like, nope. They just went back. So it was an awkward situation, and he's maybe not necessarily wrong. He could have just lost all the drones and the hatchery, right?
Exactly.
But he was going to be in a very awkward situation almost no matter what. But the opener that he did, the question right now for me is, of course, does soO do it again? A third alternative to the early pool.
soO's the kind of player who I have always characterized over the years as the guy who is completely unafraid to come out with that in-your-face build, which a lot of players see the gamble side of it, but I think soO is very good at identifying the edges, especially against particular opponents. He says, hey, if I get in this guy's face in this high-pressure situation, I know every possible transition off this aggressive opening. I've played it 1,000 times, and there's always that chance you just get a big advantage or a free win right off the bat. So I wouldn't be surprised to see soO play aggressive once again, but maybe not quite as early with the fast pull.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variations to early aggression in ZvZ, as you well know, but here we are onto Odyssey.
All right, and spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side, tying up the series 1-1. It is soO.
And in the top left, as the red Zerg, he is Nerchio.
King Arthur himself, of course. Both players going for the more standard 13 Overlord this game. Just going to be droning on up and looking for expansions at some point in the near future. Here on Odyssey, in Zerg vs. Zerg, one of the big turning points is often if one player can secure that gold expansion as a third or fourth base, and the other one can't. There's a big mineral boost on that base, and usually one side's Roach army can kind of swell out of control very quickly.
Well, we do have something a little more aggressive. Just not 14 or 12 aggressive, but still gas pool first. Nerchio is sticking tried and true to his hatchery, then gas, then pool, I assume. He did deflect the first early aggression build from game number 1 easily. Second one is a little more complicated, but seems confident in this opener.
Yeah, this is a build which can go one of many different ways for soO. We're going to have to keep an eye on his production tab, and as he continues to build drones, that means he's committing less and less to the potential Zergling or Zergling-Baneling rush off this. A lot of players will stop at about 19 or 20 workers, make a good round of Ling Bane, put on some very heavy pressure, of course, before the hatchery first player, in this case Nerchio, can have his Banelings done. But a lot of players like Serral will often do this just for safety, the 17 gas opening. They'll just get out like 12 Zerglings, maybe 2 Banelings, poke around. If they see an opening, they'll commit, but otherwise they'll just look for map control with it.
Yeah, I did wonder if there was any potential in soO's mind that Nerchio would do that. But Nerchio, for me, I mean, he can be a dangerous player. Obviously a very good one, but I mean, also like doing early pulls, game over 3, ace match. But he's not necessarily the one that I would choose, like, first and foremost for that. I do wonder if soO is at all afraid. But he does, of course, get the faster speed off of this. Baneling Nest coming down much quicker than Nerchio's would too. And
he's actually going to hide his first 2 Zerglings, which makes me think he is going to commit to some sort of pressure. I mean, he's going up to about 20 workers, but I have a feeling we're going to see a big round of Lings after that, meeting up with 2 very fast, sneaky Banelings going across the map. And if Nerchio isn't paying attention with his Overlord Scout, he might not realize this. Normally, the way you recognize you're up against this specific opening is your Overlord spots that their natural expansion is finished a little bit later than yours. The creep has spread slightly slower, but that's something which a lot of players, since it's such a marginal difference, won't pay attention to. But here we go, Nerchio playing quite safe. Baneling Nest before third base, and has his queen already there in the choke point.
This is dangerous. soO already having those 2 Banelings, even though not like extremely in proxy, still pretty close to the action. The Nerchio already taking his own third, not getting any more Lings. There's a couple now. Speed kicks in for soO.
Oh, soO actually loses a few of these Zerglings with a pretty poor trade. This is a good trade for Nerchio, since otherwise these Zerglings were just going to be cornered out of the map. They are now going to be surrounded, but being able to buy a bit of time, do a little bit of damage, this has given Nerchio some warning. Now he's got 14 Zerglings of his own on the way. Unfortunately, none of them are ready to make into Banelings just yet, but there we go. Queen's on the ramp. Banelings will be morphing on top of the ramp, and he should be able to defend his natural. Yeah. Is soO going to go for more damage, or is he just going to try to take out the third?
The third, you think, would be a really good option. He's actually just already attacking it. So a cancel goes down for Nerchio. He still played safe, still saved all the drones that he could, but soO behind this, pretty much from the get-go, had been droning. It's an okay trade there, and so it seems like he's going to stay around for a little while longer, but with the intent to scout, to know, to like kind of contain your opponent while you just get away with a bit more greed. And his third base, yeah, is going to down location. soO is
such a fast, mechanically sound player, so whenever he gets a chance to put on Ling Bane pressure this early in the game, it becomes very awkward as Nerchio. You can see Nerchio here has bypassed his army. He's trying to counterattack to pull that pressure away from him. He knows he needs to reestablish his own third base. Good Baneling there, does save that drone, but more Zerglings on that third are actually going to deny Nerchio's attempt at a third once again. Great play from soO. Can he defend his own one, though? That hatchery's taking a lot of damage, but his Lings come back just in time.
And Nerchio doesn't have much support for them, and the Banelings of soO come back to really take care of that. Easy peasy. Looks like soO is going to get that third base up faster than Nerchio. Nerchio still making drones. Good job, Drone. He took out that Ling. Finally gets his own third base down, but soO's on to bigger and better things. More drones, and a Roach Warren comes down for him.
Yeah, this gets really dicey at this point. soO has all the map control right now. Nerchio trying to get back out there with a counterattack, but there's nothing to defend his third base. And there's Zerglings down here already attacking it, and a ton of them in the bottom left corner for soO, just waiting to stream in on top of that hatchery.
Well, ditto for Nerchio. Is there defense for either player? This hatchery of Nerchio is already so low, and the Queen's caught a little out of position, trying to get that wall at the very least. There are Banelings for soO, but Nerchio could technically micro against this. That hatchery's getting awfully low. It could happen.
Oh. Is going to be defended, though, and back at time, both back at home for Nerchio, both Queens have gone down. soO gets in here, these Banelings going to come in, and a very nice hit there to stabilize. But as long as soO keeps that third base up, Nerchio's in trouble. 2 base versus 3. Even though the worker counts are identical, Roaches are now on the way for soO. It's going to be a big 3 base Roach Ling Bane push, maybe with a couple of Ravages in the mix as well. Nerchio with no third hatchery for production. He's stuck in a corner. He's in a very tight place right now.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he can tap the hatchery and get that down, but then he does have to worry about the actual attack. Ling, Baneling, and Roaches. I mean, he can't even really hope to get us around on the Roaches, since soO will be making a couple Banelings. She's looking for the hit right now. Nerchio peels off. There's more Banelings.
Banelings and Roaches everywhere. Nerchio not quite finding the edges he wants, and once again, no Banelings there to defend the third. soO finding and exposed a single Baneling, waddling his little way back there, but he's not going to be in time.
Oh, no cancel either. To get to the main base, he's going to take out a Queen perhaps and a handful of drones. but only putting them back down to basically even.
Yeah. Great play here from soO. Strong on the defense, strong on the offense. Always so good with those drone drills to protect his queens from the Zergling run-bys. And Nerchio, he is in such a desperate spot. His Roach Warren hasn't even finished. Meanwhile, we've got about 10, 12 Roaches coming across the map here. And soO's not giving up yet. He's just going to keep on pushing in here, even with just a couple Zerglings finding damage.
Nerchio has a serious, like, hatchery, larva problem. There's the word.
Yeah.
Larva problem. He was banking a ton. Roaches helped a little bit. He's making 13 right now and +1 missile, but his army supply is still half that of soO, who is marching across the map. This might just be the death push.
Absolutely. I don't see anything here for Nerchio to stop. There's a couple Roaches waddling out, but there's so many more Roaches here for soO. 65 army supply to 40, a ton of Roaches and Banelings, making a few Ravages for good measure, and he's still got that third hatchery, that drone advantage behind it. Nerchio going to try and micro as best he can, trying to get the good angle with his Roaches to have maximum surface area. He's doing the best that he possibly can here. Snipes down the Banelings and his Lings flood into the front line, but I think there's just a few too many units here for soO.
Yeah, Defender's Advantage can kick in for like even a 20 army supply deficit. We're down to like about 30 though right now, and soO is streaming across the map with more Lings. Nerchio running out of Banelings, not getting into the surrounds that he was hoping for, any of the explosive hits. Going to lose his own +1 attack, and soO could probably still stick around, but I think he knows he's going to win this game. No third base for Nerchio, smaller army. It's all looking good for soO.
More and more Ravages coming in here. Nerchio tries to focus down two of them, does take them down, but there's even more coming out behind this, and Nerchio just so far behind in the income. He needs an incredible fight to stabilize in this game, but his last few units are trickling down, and despite such an incredible Game 1 hold from Nerchio here in this fast-paced Ling-Bane multitasking war, soO was just able to punch him from the left, punch him from the right, and just keep on piling on the aggression. In the end, Nerchio does crumble, and it is soO who is going to be taking the 2-1 victory there over Nerchio and progressing to that winners match.